Peace and blessings to you. I've written a series of a dozen or so letters in a light-hearted vein called Parish Correspondence. And they are little whimsies really about the sort of letters that a parish priest might get. I've called him Fr Roger Hickley, and the sort of letters that Father Robert might reply. This first letter and series comes from an undertaker writing to this Catholic parish priest. From the Celestial Repose Funeral Homes, with branches in Pofada, Heimville, Somerset East, Oranje and Barberton. Dear Reverend Hickson, I greet you with respect. As you know, the plot of land next to your church is vacant and up for sale. I wish to purchase it and build a funeral parlour and car park on the land. The municipality have instructed me to contact the adjacent landowners in the unlikely case of objections. Should you give permission, we will happily bury deceased members of your Catholic congregation at a 10% discount. May I await your early response? Faithfully yours, Basil P. Lawrence, Director of the Celestial Repose Funeral Homes. And from the St. Martha and Mary Presbytery, Father Robert Hickson replies, Dear Mr. Lazarus, I have to inform you that my pastoral council has greeted the news of a funeral home next to our church with considerable dismay. They have asked me to tell you that it surprises them you do not see that the proximity of these institutions is, to say the least, unfortunate. Furthermore, you will know that on the other side of the vacant land, a respected doctor has his surgery and consulting rooms. For a funeral parlour to be so close to a man of his profession will be quite unacceptable to the people of this area, I can assure you. It could give the impression that you are somehow in cooperation with either or both your neighbours. The very idea that you would consider discounting Catholics and not others would greatly reinforce this inevitable and distasteful opinion. Your offer is most uncalled for. I strongly advise you to seek another vacant plot for your business. Yours sincerely, Father Robert Hickson, Parish Priest. And the director of the funeral homes responds, Celestial Repose Funeral Homes, Dear Reverend Hickson, I am sorry you feel as you do. The good doctor on the other side of the vacant plot welcomed the idea of a Celestial Repose Funeral Home. Unlike my letter to you, I had written to him in jocular vein, asking his permission and promise I would put up a large notice saying, we are not in partnership with our neighbour, but are prepared to cover up his mistakes. He finds this highly amusing and has sent his approval to the municipality. Frankly, I must tell you I am not a Catholic and have heard that in your church you lay a lot of emphasis on the four last things, death, judgment, heaven and hell. Surely your congregants, on entering or leaving your place of worship, and made aware by you of their ultimate end, would be consoled to see so proximate and convenient a dignified service available to them. Our morticians are professional in every respect. We can organize flowers, wreaths, organist, soloist, liquid and solid refreshments, viewing of the remains, newspaper obituaries, motorized and horse-drawn hearses, brass bands or bagpipes, pew leaflets, national flags, purchase of cemetery plots, cremations, etc., etc. I have taken the liberty of sending a copy of this letter to a woman of your congregation who I happen to know, Enid Plenge, Miss Plenge, Chair of the Catholic Women's League. she may contact you. Yours, etc. Basil Lazarus, Director of the funeral home. And Father Robert replies. No, on the contrary, he doesn't. It's Miss Plenge who replies. Catholic Women's League, St. Martha and Mary Parish. Dear Father Robert, we of your parish's Catholic Women's League are united and unanimous in challenging the Pastoral Council's disapproval of a funeral parlour in the vacant plot next to the church. It will remove at a stroke the immense burden of work that we have for years undertaken. Willingly, I admit, but we are all getting on, as you well know. The services offered by Mr. Lazarus, can only be a great relief to us, and you, Father, as well, we venture to say. The endless cups and saucers, fish paste sandwiches, washing up, sweeping, tidying, etc. The CWL would be thrilled to be shot of it all. Sorry if this shocks you. Mr. Basil Lazarus is a good man, a widower, and we meet at the Singles Club. Like me, he is, at present, unmarried. I invite you, Father, to our next CWL meeting, which Basil will address, Saturday, 30th of February at 3 p.m. Subject, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil. Guidelines. Asking your blessing, Enid Plenge, Miss, Chairlady, St. Martha and Mary, CWL. And lastly, from the St. Martha and Mary Presbytery, 1 whole year later. Dear Enid and Basil, I had no idea there would be an upstairs flat for you both at the Celestial Repose Funeral Home. It will be a most peaceful spot to enjoy after your short honeymoon, and I imagine it looks over the tranquil cremation plotlets towards the doctor's lovely back garden. In strictest confidence, I must tell you that old Mrs. Siobhan O'Shaughnessy looks as though she is heading for Abraham's bosom, and soon will be needing your or our services. I've given your number to her son, Seamus. Congrats once again. Blessings from Bob Hickson, parish priest. P.S. One day, when I have shuffled off this mortal coil, I've instructed the bishop and written in my will that Celestial Repose Funeral Homes assist at my requiem. Tea and Irish whiskies should be served in the hall with sticky buns in great quantities. Fish paste sandwiches are banned. The truly heroic CWL are not to serve, but to be served.